Hey everyone, this is alexusadays, and I'm recording a video on QA jobs availability in the United States. It's for December 2024. Now, I did already two of those videos. One was a year ago, and after that, we did an update half a year later. So I'm going to take a look at the numbers a year ago, half a year ago, and today and compare them to see if we are losing QA jobs, if we are gaining QA jobs, what is going on with the jobs on the market. All right, so I made a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet will be available for download for the post with the Patreon post for this. So it will be available on Patreon. There will be a post about the job status of the market, and you can go to Patreon and download it from that post, right? Because can't really attach it here on the YouTube. So let's take a look what we got. So here we got the web pages. So I've been looking at the same web pages. So DICE, total amount of jobs for quality assurance. This is worldwide, not in the United States. If I'll add USA here, it does bring the number of jobs about 500 down. Then a Glassdoor, so quality assurance jobs in the last 2 weeks in California, then in Texas, in Florida, and New York State, because those are top states with the most jobs. And then quality assurance jobs on LinkedIn in the United States for the past week that are being added. So let's take a look at the graph. All right, so on DICE, it's an interesting showing, so I have to update the total amount of jobs first. So if we'll go to the DICE, 8,400. I'm just gonna take it globally, so without a filter, because I have already data for globally. I don't think there's the 500 jobs difference is really that much for the filter, because before, yeah, I think the filter itself, I just pressed on the filter before. I didn't use country, and that is still mostly for the United States. So all those numbers are just generic for the whole web page without specifying USA. All right, so on January 5th, 2024, so like almost a year ago, right? There was a total amount of 5,434 jobs. Today we're at 9,082. Most of them are full-time jobs, and the majority of them are created by recruiters. So you can see there's a pretty good increase in total jobs available. Full-time and recruiter, like it's almost higher on all positions except even remote jobs are higher amount, except the contract jobs. There are less contract jobs. I think there is a seasonal dependency there. Like for sure there is. Right now we're in December, so almost New Year. Companies are closing budgets. Um, there's not a lot of hiring, or less hiring than the usual happening at the end of the year. You're gonna see start more hiring rolling out when the budgets for the next year are gonna be ready. Give it a month or so to get everything settled. So I think in February you'll start seeing more jobs rolling out because we're in the new year with the new budgets. Okay, so here we see a positive trend. Specifically on DICE, there are more jobs available. 2,000 more jobs than half a year ago, and almost 4,000, 3,500 jobs than a year ago for all the QA for the last 7 days. Now on Glassdoor, I pulled the stats a little bit differently, so I added some numbers here so we can trace them throughout the time span. So California, Texas, Florida, New York State, and then total for that period. California a year ago versus, so in the middle of the year, in the summer, we had more jobs in California. Definitely because this was in January, so this is past New Year, the first month's past New Year. This is a month before New Year, so there are less jobs in California at the end of the year, like the minimum of jobs on the market. In Texas, very similar situation. So spike in the summer, a little bit less than a year back in January. In Florida, around the same, right? Yeah, very close. Was a smaller spike in the summer. Same for the New York. So year back and now. So January and December, like they're pretty close. December less, and just because it's the end of the year. So 1,700 jobs right now available in December versus 1,900 jobs in January of 2024. And during the summer, we had a bit more. We have 2,400. The links are all here. If you want to see the stats to yourself, you can click through the links when you download the file. Now, what is it saying? If you compare it to DICE, where we have a gross amounts of jobs, and most of those are recruiter jobs, but I think if we look on the state level on Glassdoor, that is a bit more accurate representation of what's going on. So I would say DICE maybe changed something on how they attract talent or how they post jobs. They're trying to get more recruiters on the platform. So there's definitely growth from that, right? But then on Glassdoor, it is showing that the amount of jobs is slightly less. But again, I think it's because we're looking at December versus January. And then we looked at LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is showing the strangest thing. So before it was 3,200 jobs, then it spiked to 7,500 jobs in 7 days in the summer. And now we're at 1,300 jobs, which is like the most minimum I've seen on the platform for the past week. The total amount of jobs in the USA open right now and available is 5,400, which corresponds better with the previous numbers. I think maybe something got updated on LinkedIn. I'm not sure. I think going forward, I will trace and track between 7 days and total amount of jobs available, because it's hard to imagine what could have happened. Why there's such a drastic change in showing the amount of jobs on LinkedIn with the same filter for the past week. Maybe it was counting before everything that was available in the past week, not what was posted, and now it's just counting what's posted. Maybe it is the drop in the jobs, but again, I think such dramatic job drop would be reflected in the Glassdoor and in Dice report, and I don't see it. So something definitely changed in the filter. I think, well, at least that's my assumption. So as you can see, so there's 1,342 jobs for quality assurance in the United States for the past week. So there's like 1,300 jobs available right now in the United States for quality assurance that were posted just a week ago, within the last 7 days. Now, if I'll remove this filter and say anytime, it's going to show me the total amount of jobs in QA that are available, and maybe they were posted more than a month ago, right? And it gets us to 5,400, which is closer to the number that I had previously seen on LinkedIn. Unless there's like the really significant job drop on posting on LinkedIn that is not reflected, somehow not reflected on Glassdoor or Dice. I mean, maybe it's not as easy to post jobs anymore. I'm not sure why, or they remove some spam or bots. I don't know why there's such a drastic change, because total amount of jobs is corresponding to the previous numbers. I mean, it's a lot closer, but jobs per week are not. It's just, yeah, it's much lower, because if we compare 1,300 jobs versus even in January, So 1,300 versus 3,200, we have twice less jobs available, closely in the same, like, you know, in the same hiring season, so to speak, right? Which is really strange. Um, so yeah, from now on, I'll be tracking both total QA jobs in USA and last 7 days to see if if there's like more correlation there of total jobs in the last 7 days. I think something probably got changed on how even the filter stayed the same. What has been actually returned show probably got changed. All right, and well, the last one thing is salary, and there's a web page to track salary on Zippo. I looked at the numbers, so numbers on average are staying the same. So 98,000 California, 65,000 Florida. But again, this is an average. You take the lowest and the highest jobs, so you get that average. Typically, the payout will depend on your seniority. So in California, mid-level can look around 100K plus, senior level can look 120K, 130, 150. If you go into like SDET, you can have around 200K. Um, for Florida, obviously, is going to be a lot lower. So the numbers over the average salary is, I would say, is not a very specific thing. I would probably, if you're investigating how much the job is going to pay for a particular like QA level in a particular state, I would search deeper and I would go to Glassdoor and I would search um, per job in the region, like job by job, to understand, like get a sample out of 10 jobs in that particular region. And it's pretty convenient now for California and I think New York and some other states like Colorado. They are required by law to post the salaries, so you can actually see how much a QA job would be paying or what budget they have for this particular position. Okay, so one thing that is concerning and not clear is the amount of jobs on LinkedIn decreased significantly, but I suspect something is done with the filtering how it returns those jobs because that job drop is not reflected in Glassdoor. Uh, Stays pretty close in the top 3 states in the United States, and on Dice, it's showing more than ever from what we've been tracking. So conflicting, a little bit mixed results, but at least we have numbers moving forward to kind of adjust and see better what's going on with LinkedIn and how it's going to compare with the numbers. So I think next update in a half a year would provide a little bit more clarity. All right. So this was Alex USA Days. Thank you for watching and bye bye.